Are you concerned about the environmental problems in the planet? In 1992 there was a net summit, and lots of important people came to Brazil to discuss all those problems. My friends and I are going to tell you all about that.
Agenda 21 is a plan of action that represents different ideas from many countries about how we can secure our future. Agenda 21 is like a green brain because it has solutions to solve problems with environment, and it also has solutions to create healthy economy for all people of the world, like you and me.
Friends and I are concerned about water and what water problems we have. There are two chapters in Agenda 21 which talk about water problems. Chapter 18, protecting and managing water, and Chapter 21, solid waste and sewage.
So what we have been doing these past 3 months was to look for information about water. We were looking this information on some internet web pages like this, and we have also watched some videos like the story of stuff.
So now we are going to tell you all we have found about water, the whole process from when the water is taken from the natural sources, how the water is treated before we drink it, all kinds of water consumption, and all the process the water goes through before we put it back into the environment. And finally, we're going to tell you some problems the water has and how we can try to solve them.
Okay, it's important to know that the 3/4 of the surface of the earth is water, and not the total amount of water is drinkable for the humans. So we only can use the 3%, which is the fresh water, and it's divided in 4 big pipes, which normally is used only the surface water, which is the 3%, the 0.3%, which is divided also in lakes, swamps and rivers, which is the total amount of water that we consume.
There are 3 basic steps to explain water cycle. First one is evaporation, and this step occurs when sun heats up water from oceans or rivers, and this water is transformed from liquid to gas. Then the second step is condensation, and this step occurs when vapor rises up to the sky, creating clouds. And third step is precipitation, and this step occurs when clouds start raining, like water, snow or sleet. And this water travels over land and comes back to ocean or rivers again, and this process starts again.
Now that we know all about water cycle, let me explain how water is made drinkable. First of all, water passes through big nets to remove solids of water, and then starts the process of water treatment. The first step is coagulation. Alum and other chemicals are added to water, and these particles attract the dirty particles of water and make them heavier. The second step is sedimentation. In sedimentation, these heavy particles go to the bottom and move to filtration. In filtration, water passes through filters to remove any amount of small dirty particles in the water, and then goes to disinfectation. In disinfectation, chlorine is added to water to kill any bacteria and microorganisms, and then the process is finished and water goes to your houses by pipelines.
Now that we know how the water is treated, let's see how we consume it. In consumption of water is divided in 3 sectors: the agricultural sector, industry and household consumption. On these 3 sectors produce pollution in different ways. For example, in agriculture, the water is polluted because of the chemical products and fertilizers, and in this sector a lot of water is waste, as you can see in this pie, because we want to grow crops in places where we don't have so much water, so we need a big amount of water. On the sector of industry, we use the water to cool some things, or transportation, or some things like that, and the water gets polluted a lot. It's the worst sector for the water pollution. Finally, on household consumption, it's divided mainly in the toilet, clothes washer, shower and faucet, as you can see. And also a very important part of the household consumption is on leaks, because we don't know where it is produced and the water waste can be so much. On household consumption, the water is very important factor. It has increased its consumption, as you can see in the chart, the last years, mainly in Asia. This is a problem because water produces a lot of pollution and it takes a lot of fuel to do the plastic bottles.
So now the water is used, it's time to clean it up before we put it back into the environment. So the water is taken to a wastewater treatment plant, where the treatment is divided into 3 sections. The first one, the primary, is all about the physical processes. The second one, the secondary, is about biological treatments, and the third one is all about adding chemicals to clean the water. So first of all, when the water arrives at the wastewater treatment plant, they make the water go through some screens to stop the bigger solids. After that, they make the water flow slow, so all the grit settles. To end up the primary treatment, they add some bubbles to the water, so it makes the dirty particles smaller, and so the microorganisms could make them disappear, and that will be the secondary treatment. And after that, they add some chlorine, and sometimes they do some light treatments to kill all possible microorganisms. And now the water is clean, but with all the mud that we have from that process, they took it to another plant when they can create some bioenergy or use it in landfills or agriculture.
Now that we know everything about water, it's time to think why the water is polluted. First of all, humans throw lots of tons of trash to the ocean, like plastics, and also the industries make a lot of pollution to the water, like fertilizers and chemicals.
And also human pollutions like ships, marine dumping, oil pollution, sewage, sanitary waste, and solid wastes.
Now that we know all the water problems we have to face, the question is, what can we do? Okay, first of all, we must reduce the amount of water and chemical products, and also prevent pollution before it begins.
To reduce the water pollution, we had better change the plastic bottles instead metal bottles, because they reduce the amount of plastic we use.
Finally, and probably the most important, is to try to concern people about the water problems and try to make them rethink about their water habits.
Think about it!